Hello, everybody. Your girl is back again 5 minutes later with my amazing, fantastic guest that has disappeared for a long time, but now we are here. We have repented. You see, Easter is coming. It's Palm Sunday today. We have taken the Lord Jesus Christ back as our personal Savior. And we are back. Please, if you're on Facebook, and you didn't know that Sika Educates was also very much active on YouTube, this is your opportunity to go over to YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube channel, please. There's a nice smiley face of a pink ladied woman in a pink dress as the profile picture. That is my YouTube channel, also called Sika Educates. Number 2, if you love me and you love my guests, please, we want to see the love hearts. We want to see engagement. We want to see that you're excited that we are back. Last but not least, if you don't give this platform any stars, you don't show no gratitude, my guest will stop coming again. Oh. She will come back again, and I can't beg her to
I'll
come back
still
this
come
time.
back in.
So please show some love. Let us know you're here. Don't hide. This is a very interactive conversation. So, Ekwamwa, after a long break, you're welcome back to Sika Educates. We missed you so much. We're happy that you're back. The floor is yours now.
Thank you, everyone. I guess first of all, I want to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone around the world who is watching us. As Sika said, I'm happy to be back today after taking a long break. Um, but one thing for sure, as I was taking a break, I was also really energizing myself. I guess that's the way you should say,
Yes,
recharging,
yes,
recuperating,
recharging your battery.
recharging and recuperating. I just want to thank everyone. Please don't forget to share and don't forget to, if you're watching this on Facebook, I would love it if you actually move from Facebook and go to YouTube and watch us live on YouTube if you
Hey,
can.
Uncle Tony is here, back with a big bag.
Thank you, my one and only
Hey,
Uncle
Uncle
T. Thank you, Uncle
Tony.
T.
Yay.
Thank you, Uncle T. Um, so we just want to this afternoon just have a very casual conversation. And honestly, Sika, I know before we used to share the link, and I would love to, um, but we're just here. We want to talk about the mindset and the things that we have to think about when we want to japa or we want to immigrate to other countries. And we are
Mhm.
talking here today, we're talking to professionals. We are not talking to people who feel like their country of origin, whatever it's going on there economic wise, they don't see it's feasible to live there any longer, right? So they are looking for greener pastures in other places, whether it be in Europe, whether it be in North America. North
Yeah.
America is really big. We have Canada, we have US, right? But one thing holds true is that no, the moment that you decide to leave the comfort of your home, where everybody knows you, where you know where to find your favorite food joints, where you know when to you have the routine of hanging out with your friends at a certain time of the week, whether it's Friday or whether it's Sunday, in Ghanaian culture, Sunday or mutual joint, right? Whatever all those things are,
Yeah.
you you are going to leave all of that behind and come into a whole new environment
Yeah.
where you don't know anybody, you don't even know where to buy your African food, you don't even know where to buy clothes, buy pots, buy pants, or even buy diaper, buy milk for your child,
Yeah.
right? Even
Mhm.
the baby formula, the one you are used to, you will not even be able to find them here, right? So how do you prepare yourself and how do you move from that culture and reintegrate yourself into this new culture? One
Mm.
of the things that, and the reason why I decided to jump on this opportunity to talk to Sika and for us to come and really have this conversation is that there are a lot of people that have moved over here. Canada, for example, has had in like almost 1 million people in the
Mm.
last 1 year.
Yeah.
Okay. And this 1 million people include international students, include highly skilled labor, right? That means people who are really, really, really well educated, and
Yeah.
also people who are temporary foreign workers. All of these people, they are part of the engines that run our economy, right?
Correct. Yeah.
But what we are hearing from outside on the streets in the communities that people are struggling. They're struggling to integrate. They're struggling to find jobs. They're struggling to make ends meet,
Mm.
right? And you're also, some of them want to go back, right? But why do you want to go back? And many people will be like, oh, but you are there. You are saying you want to go back, right? Well, there are so many things that will make you want to go back,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
So we're here to talk this afternoon, really to talk about tackle some of these issues. And I think today we're just deciding to talk about self-development. Why it's important for you to think, use self-development as one of your integration tools.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I'm hearing, like people, you come and then you find out that the money you make, it's all you're using it to pay bills.
Mm.
Okay, that you're not getting any disposable income, or you're not getting any money for you to be able to build that machine that you thought that you can build. You know, some of you are selling your properties back home and you are coming here and all the money is being melted away, right? Some of you are even selling properties in other places in the world and moving to Canada or moving to the United States and finding out that it is not what you thought it is,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And one of the things I want everybody to know is that there is a lot of money in this in North America or Europe and everything. But the money is not like the way you find money. You need to work, you need to change your mindset, and you need to really be very strategic. And one of the best way is through self-development.
Mm.
Why am I saying that? For example, in Ghana, if you work in Ghana, if you work in the bank, they will call you what? Bank executive, right? You come here, and when the bank is that job that is bank executive in Ghana, here is customer service.
Mm-hmm.
If you're lucky, they'll say it's teller,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm really gonna pick on the banking industry because a lot of people, especially coming from certain part of the world, they all come and they most of them were already working in the banks, and when they come here, they want to get into the bank.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if you want to work in the bank, for example, you're no longer a banking executive. Here, you are a customer service representative
Yes.
or
A
bank
teller.
teller, a
Yeah.
teller.
Yeah.
Okay. As a bank teller, generally, the requirement is a high school diploma,
Correct.
which is our equivalent of what? WAEC
SSS.
or SSS, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is the requirement. And because your initial requirement, and here we have something we call minimum,
Yeah.
right? And even though it's minimum high school, it's also you can still have a degree and still get that job, right? But because the minimum is high school, your pay is going to be very minimal, right?
Correct.
You're
Yes.
not going to earn enough money, okay? So you have to now understand that as I am taking this job as a bank teller or as a customer service representative, if I take this job, what can I do so that I will earn more money as
Mm.
a bank teller, right? That is where self-development comes in, okay? You can start working as a bank teller, but there are courses in the financial industry that you can start taking.
Yeah.
Is it cheap? No,
No.
it's a lot of money. You have to take those courses in order for you to move from bank teller to now be a broker, financial advisor. And with all of those, that's when you actually start ending the extra money or the money that's actually suitable for you,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
But if you don't spend time developing yourself, if you don't invest time finding out information, and then the moment you come, you apply for a job in the banking industry and they call you, you jump at it. The time you go, the day they give you the job offer, you now find out that it's paying you $18 an hour. And that $18 is not enough to cover your mortgage, it's not enough to cover your rent. And then what happens? The frustration begins, right? So, what am I saying? If you're thinking about moving abroad and you, let's say you have a career that you want to come back and transition into it, do investigation. What is that job title called now? What is it called in the other country? And in order for me to hit a certain and research, how much is the cost of living? How much is the hourly or the salary for that position? And if I want to climb up based on experience, what do I need to add to my education that I have, right? In order for me to be able to succeed,
Yeah.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
these are some of the things that I want people to start thinking. Make that as part of your action plan. Investigate,
Mm.
find out the relevancy of your education, right? Get your education evaluated. Work on all of these things. Don't just pack up and come because you heard that somebody came here and they're a doctor and you're practicing as a doctor. That is not, that will lead you to wanting you to move back, that will lead you to frustration, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some of these things, they are affecting families. People
Yes.
like Japan, they're coming, and then now you see DV happening, and we people are calling and yes, falling into the system, right? There was one story I heard last time that really broke my heart. A family came and then and I guess they were renting a two-bedroom and they had different children with different sex. The
Mm-hmm.
kids went to school, then the school called social services
Oh no, because they're sharing
because
a room.
exactly, right? Have you investigated those things, right? Please investigate that. If I have two boys and a girl, I cannot rent a two-bedroom. I must rent a three-bedroom. Do I have the money, right? Is this something that is feasible, right? How are you planning, right? So research your job title. What is it entails? What does the responsibility entails, right? Now there are so many other opportunities where people are able to do courses online, right? Through Google. You can do Google courses. Check and see the requirements. Is this something that you can be doing at Google whilst you are waiting for your papers to be processed? Right? So when the time comes that you come here, you already have those skill sets ready, right? And you've already taken those action plan, right? Don't just because you receive, you have money, carry yourself and come. Because if you don't take time, you're going to be frustrated, right? So the other thing I also wanted to touch base on is that if you're already here, take advantage. There's so much programs for new immigrants. Take advantage of all those programs. Networking, how to do your resume, because the way you do your resume or the resume that you were using, even if you were in Europe, the resume they use in UK is not the same resume that is required here. It's
Absolutely.
totally different, right? But how are you going to do that if you don't develop time in yourself? How are you going to know, right? How are you going to know how to draft your resume to suit the North American culture, to suit the career that you are pursuing, right? Whether whichever way, whether it's an engineer, how are you going to know all of that if you are not doing the research, finding out what associations do I need to be part of in order for me to end my job? What certification do I need to get in order for me to join the, a better engineering and whatever they call them,
A
society
bigger,
or
bigger,
a
bigger.
bigger, right? How would you need? All of these things are things that you need to investigate, right? And how can you take proactive actions in order for you to be able to that when you come, you're not stuck in dead end jobs, right? One of the things I see most people do is that they quickly go and do 6 months healthcare job, healthcare aid. Then you be stuck in that cycle. The healthcare aid job is not enough money. Then you start doing two, three. By the time that you realize you are in that in the wheel that you keep going and going and going and going, right? So what can you do different, right? And how can you do it? And how can you achieve those goals, right? So these are the things I want to get everyone thinking, right? So that the frustration and the stress, the mental stress especially, right, upon women, upon our men, all of those things will people will feel happy, right? And people will have that self empowerment that they were looking for, because you didn't feel empowered where you were, because your money was not going anywhere, you didn't feel like you were getting the job that you needed, but now you come here and you find that you've come back to another dead end. I'll
Hmm.
pause it, Ska. Waiting to
Thank you
add.
so much, my darling, for raising this topic. It's like, whew, there's so much to put in here. Now, before I go into what I wanted to say, especially, and thank you, Ikwama, for this discussion, is that I find that especially people who immigrate from Africa to anywhere, whether it's America, Canada, Europe, or anything, in this advent of social media, people are looking at content creators and other people on social media and the lifestyle that they are portraying to other people and thinking that that is a reasonable yardstick for me to also think that when I leave Ghana, Nigeria, Lagos, wherever, and come to Canada within 2 months, I'll also, be able to afford all those expensive things and do all these things that people put out there on social media. I want you to understand that people are doing fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it. When you get to any Western country, it is clear that you need a credit card. It's something that is going to give you clout in the place. Without a credit card, the financial system doesn't know you as anybody. So even a student has to get a credit card. There are companies that charge higher interest rates, like Capital One and whatever. But at the end of the day, they are the companies that soak in people that don't have any credit rating or any, we don't know what your financial credit situation is like in that country that you're going to, but you're going to have to get it somehow. So there are these little companies that help people that don't have any financial backing from anywhere. We don't know you financially, but we give you that opportunity for you to build your financial credibility around credit cards in the country. And because they have access to credit, people can get $10,000 credit very easily. And so the fact that you're seeing somebody in this flashy thing and lying next to a car and taking picture, something that is just a shot in real time, that doesn't mean that that car is even theirs. It could be a rented vehicle. It could be their father's uncle's great grandfather's vehicle that they are leaning over and taking picture. But you are sitting in Africa and you've seen that and you think that, oh, this is the lifestyle that I'm coming to when you move from Ghana to come here, Nigeria to come here. The second thing that I want to say, Ekwamwa, is that when you're not a hustler in your home country, you are not going to become a hustler. It's not something that they pour anointing oil on you and suddenly you become a hustler where you're going. If you don't know that, as we say in Chi in Ghana, or Brian, if you're not prepared to fight, this life is a fight. If you're not fighting, you ain't going anywhere in a hurry. So if you just think that, everything is just going to be handed down to me on a silver platter, I don't have to do anything. I just have to live the life that I have to live. My sweetheart, you're not going anywhere in a hurry. If you're not a hustler in Ghana, there's somebody that I know that finished a diploma in hotel management or whatever in Ghana. She couldn't find a job. Then she got married to this man who said, oh, I'll take care of you. After giving her 2 children, he now decides that there are nicer models out there. So he dumped her and went to somebody else. This is a diploma. She went to school, a tertiary institution, and has a diploma. But she decided this diploma is not getting me anywhere. I've applied to all the jobs I can apply for. All the hotel managers want to see what is inside my leg first before they offer me job, which won't even be able to pay me anything anyway. So what did she do? She started cutting small pieces of 2 years fabric, holding it on a pan on her head, a whole graduate, going all across town in Accra during the pandemic. And she made little money. She did mobile money at a point. And now she has her own little shop that she sells only young children's attires, like their clothes, their shoes, things that children need. And it's making good money from it. The last time she told me she has like 30,000 Ghana cedis. How many people have 30,000 Ghana cedis saved up in their bank account that they can go and just take that money? But she was prepared to hustle. If you don't have that kind of mindset, when you're leaving Ghana to go to Europe or America or wherever, Dubai, and you think because you see Nekuamwa in a flashy car, so it means that is the life, then you're going to be very disappointed. If you're not a hustler there, you can't be a hustler here. And the last thing that I wanted to say is that for me personally, I used to live in England. I was born and part bred in England. So for me, I'd already done that transition from Ghana as an adult, coming back into the British system. But even me, when I got here, I was shocked. I was disappointed. Some of the things that Ekuamwa was talking about, I've experienced them. She knows firsthand because she was the person that I cried to when it was going on. I'm like, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I'm going back to England. At least it's my bread and butter. I know how to navigate that system very well. I've lived in it. So I'm going back. Why? Because I've been to school in Ghana. I continued and did a master's in Scotland. Here I am in Canada. And now everybody is telling me Canadian experience, Canadian experience, Canadian experience. How the hell am I going to get this Canadian experience if you're not going to give me the opportunity to get this Canadian experience by giving me a job? The crux of what I'm saying is that it can be a very frustrating system. But like with everything in this life, it is the people that are determined, the people that have made up their minds that regardless of the difficulties that I'm going to be facing, because you've made up your mind that it's going to be hard, it's not going to be easy. So I am already prepared for that. That's survive. Ekuamwa said, oh, okay, you just wait. Maybe when you become Canadian, if you still don't have a job, you can leave. That was the agreement we finally came to. But every day it was a crying day. Ekuamwa, I've applied for 200 jobs and nobody is calling me. She was the one that I was crying to because I was just frustrated. I thought that Canada is a former British colony. Our systems are very similar. Why is it that after 15 years of corporate work in urban planning and engineering, I can't find a job in Canada? Why? What is it? Why can't you give me a trial? Why can't you? But you have to have what you have to have. They don't care if you got your degree from the moon. They still want Canadian experience, and it's their country. You can't come and force them to take you because you came from Africa and you were a doctor in your country, and so you know how to look after patients. I'm sorry. You're in their country. They have their own systems that work. So I'm sorry, but you have to get yourself, come down off your high horses and come down a notch and understand that this is a different environment and I have to adapt myself to the new things. You have to be adaptable to other jobs. Maybe you're a doctor, but you can't find doctor job right now. It doesn't mean you will never be a doctor. I'm not saying that. But maybe temporarily, you have to take on something because you have to survive. But as Ikuamwa was saying, making a place something that makes you survive does not mean that it has to become your habitation. You bring your bed and mattress and pillow and everything and get comfortable in that position. That's how the doctors from Iran, Kuwait, all kinds of places, 30 years, they are doing Uber driving and
taxi
taxi and
driving.
mini cabbing and all of those things
Yes,
for
yeah.
minimal wages. Ikuamwa, the floor is yours.
Yes, and going back to that, so it's yeah. The whole Canadian experience thing is a very big thing. I know that we are trying with many things to try and find ways to really bring about more inclusion in terms of how other skills are being evaluated. But as those things are happening and people are still coming in every day, it's important that we understand that one of the key things, and I want to re-emphasize, is that don't come here and say a job is beneath you.
Mm.
I've actually heard people say that a job is beneath them. There's no job that is ever beneath you,
Hmm.
especially in North America,
Hmm.
period. Because North America is the only place that you can see a multimillionaire who can sweep, a multimillionaire who is cooking and taking care of their household. There is no job, nothing that is beneath you.
Mm.
I've seen a multimillionaire packing and picking orders in a warehouse
Mm.
before with my own eyes, right? So you have to think about this culture and how you integrate into the culture, and
Mm.
self-development is part of it.
Mm.
It's actually a huge part of it, right? And most of the time, what most of us do is when we come, we now compound on and go and do multiple more bigger degrees with bigger names, right? And that is also the wrong path to take,
Mm.
because that will even compound the frustration.
Mm.
Because at the end of the day, they say you need experience. So
Mm.
the question to yourself is, how do I gain that experience?
Exactly.
And gaining that experience can be for us, even if you go and volunteer in Calgary Food Bank for 1 day, that is considered experience, right? Or if you go to the in with the cold and volunteer in their soup kitchen for once every week,
Mm.
that is also part of your building your Canadian experience.
Mm.
So most of us, especially those who are you are in the professional setting and you come and you're finding it hard, the question you need to ask yourself is, what am I doing to develop myself so
Mm.
that I can integrate into the culture? And
Correct.
integrating into the culture does not mean you have to abandon who you are or you have
Mm.
to deny who you are. You can be who you are and still integrate. And why do I say that? For like, there was a this is a really simple example. Kids, when you're born here in North America, okay, when they start kindergarten, every week they are asked to bring something to come and show the class and present to the class, and they call it show and tell.
Mm.
Okay, so most of the time when my kids were in that stage, they would take their teddy bear, they would take their favorite book, they would take something that they like, and when they go and present to the class, right? And then they would tell them how it makes them feel and all those things, right? You grew back home in Africa. Even if your parent buy you new shoes and you go and show it to your friends, they will tell you you are what? You are showing off, you are too low, you are this, you are that. They will undermine you and degrade you. And then now you come into this culture and compare yourself to someone who they built up to always learn to be bold, and not in a rude way, but bold in a way that they can self describe, express themselves both emotionally and still control their emotions very well, contain it, right? Meanwhile, you in Africa, if somebody cut you off in traffic, you come out, start shouting, yeah, do all sorts of things, right? So, how do you expect all these things to work out? If you don't have that self-reflection and say yourself, how do I develop myself so that I can easily integrate into this culture? I remain who I am, but at the same time, I am able to adapt. I'm able to be agile, right? And so much things. You're talking about the lady. She wants a job, and everybody wants to go into her underwear, right? You can't do that here. You go to work, you can't ask your female colleagues to can we go out for coffee? You can't do that. And can I take you out to lunch? You can't ask your female colleague for that. In fact, you can't even touch your female or male colleague on the shoulder. It is considered harassment, and that can make you lose your job. You cannot be sending them profound languages on their cell phone or their social media. Some of you, you are so reckless that you send on crazy things to women because you are in the diaspora. You send them to women, and some of the women are sending things to people through social media of their things that I don't even want to talk about here. Right? You engage in all these habits, and all of these things are illegal. It can cause you to lose your job. So now, how do you learn to make sure that you are reintegrating using your common sense, right? You are using the way you use your words, things that you say. How do you use your words appropriately, right? Because when you are in England, you have pants. Here, in England we say trousers. Here you come, you say pants. That alone should tell you that you need to have some sort of Canadian experience. And how do you gain this experience? You need to go out there and develop yourself. You cannot sit in your house and apply to 100 jobs, or you cannot sit in your house, get a customer service job, and somehow you think because you have double masters and double MBA, so somebody is going to hand you a managerial position. When they hand it to you, the next week, the 3 months, they're going to lay you off or they're going to fire you. Why? It's not because you could not do your job, it's because you lack those skills. The skills that a little child starts and start doing show and tell. Your communication skills. Are you using the right way to communicate? Right? How are you communicating? How are you relating to your co-workers? In Africa, when you're a manager, it's an authoritarian position. But here, if you're a manager, you and your team, you work together, right? Collaboration. We are not in Africa, you are taught that you have to be first class, second class, third class, right? Here, the most they will do is honor roll. And honor roll is anybody who from 80% going, right? There's no first class, there's no second class, there's no third class. You are taught to work collaboratively here. So how can you manage a team when you don't know anything about collaboration?
Hmm.
You don't know how to work with a team. You've never heard it. Back home, when you are entering your house and you're entering your office as a manager, everybody is running away and finding where to hide. And now you come to a culture where you, the manager, you have to stoop to the level of your co-workers or your team. If your team is not happy with you, you are going on a chopping block, not
That's
them.
right. That's right.
So, do you need Canadian experience? Definitely, because you are in a two different culture. But you cannot get all of these things if you are not investing in your self-development.
Mm-hmm.
Self-development, personal growth mindsets, developing your social skills, your communication skills. How are you communicating? How are you developing? Do you know how to use your Microsoft PowerPoint to do presentation? Do you know how to use data to make decisions? You're coming from a country where we do things without assessing. We don't assess everything. We don't look at the whole picture. We can even make a road where it leads through somebody's house. Somebody can build their house in the middle of a proposed highway, right? Let's be realistic to ourselves. And then you want to come because you're a manager in Ghana now, somebody should make you a manager,
Mm-hmm.
right? Self-development.
The reason why I'm laughing, Ekwama, is because there's a lot of issues with integration. This thing that you were talking about people, especially our men, our brothers, being politically incorrect. Somebody lost their job on the sole basis of the fact that, in Africa, a lot of people see women as, objects of pleasure.
Admiration. Yeah.
Yes, and pleasure. So he had his colleague who had offered, oh, let's go sit down and have coffee. There's something that we need to discuss about work. And he took that to mean that the woman was making an advancement at him. So they go out, they've had their tea and coffee and whatever. And when they were walking back, he put his arms around her. And then she went, "What are you doing?" Almost stretching forth to want to kiss this woman. As soon as she came back, complaints. The whole fire bells, arm bells, all started ringing. Before he knew what was happening to him, he had lost his job. That's why I was laughing. You know,
Yeah.
as Debbie and Roberta are both saying here, you have to understand the culture where you are. It is not everything that you think in your head that has to come out of your mouth, right? A big one is, this whole conversation about people having different sexual orientation. It's another big one
Oh,
because I
yes.
work in an environment, and I know you do too. Like in the government sector of any kind, if you think that it's only you that is over sabi, only you know that where we were raised, or whether it's your religion or your culture or whatever, it has to be man man and woman woman man and whatever, and you don't accept the fact that man can be with man, woman can be with woman. My brother, my sister, keep your feelings to yourself. Nobody needs to know what you think. Nobody is forcing you to do what they do. You came to the place to come and earn your livelihood, not to come and express yourself and give opinion. They live in their country. So please, you have to be politically correct and know what to say when. Sometimes people would even tempt you by wanting to know what you think, because they have heard it that, Africans are homophobic, they are this, they're that. And now you go to open your mouth to say how you feel about something. And now that is your job. That is your livelihood gone. It is not everything that comes into your head that must come out of your mouth. And it goes back to the point that Ekuamwa and Debbie are talking about, which is emotional intelligence. Use your head. Use your head. It is there for a reason. Use it so that you save yourself all of this wahala. A lot of us also don't want to get out there and, let's say, Ekuamwa, your team is having a team building day. You're all going to play hockey. And after you've played hockey, you're going to sit in a pub and have drinks. Now, Sister Sylvia will not come and say, "Me, I'm a Christian. What am I doing in a pub? Me. What am I going to do in a pub?" Do you know that when your bosses have had a little bit to drink and they become relaxed, that is where all the decisions about what is going to happen in your team, that is when they are deciding. That is how you know what is going to happen in your team. They will be talking freely. You'll be having interactions with different people. You know people's backgrounds. And that's how you figure, oh, so this thing that I've been looking for, this brother knows somebody who can help me achieve this a bigger thing that I've been looking for. But you say you are a Christian, you don't go to pub. So you go and sit in your house and lock your door. And you are praying, Hibaba, every day. God, I need my destiny helper. When the destiny helper is right under your nose. But because of your attitude of close-mindedness and not opening up yourself to opportunities, you were stuck in a rut and not able to move anywhere. You can drink water in a pub. They serve water in the pub. They serve Coke in the pub. There's juice in the pub. Like, open up yourself to experience the culture. If you're not prepared to integrate, you're not going to have happier outcomes living abroad. It's just as simple as that.
And you know what? Going back to Sika, what you said, right? One of the things, the basic thing that I want everybody to understand is that we have separation of church and state. That means that your church is, when you go, your religious institution is separate from the everyday life. And the moment you accept this fact, it will really help you, right? It will really, really help you. In your workplace, there's people from different diverse background with different beliefs, to different cultures, and all those things. So it's important that you always know how you can be very sensitive and be very welcoming and be very appropriate as well,
Mm,
right? And going back, as you were talking about, people hiding behind religiosity to really also use it as a way to be stagnant. That's what I
Mm,
call it,
mm,
to be stagnant,
mm,
right?
mm.
Everybody should remember, um, Esther was married to a heathen king, right? She was married to a heathen king. His Mordecai, his cousin, could have told her, Esther, don't be part of the pageant. He's a heathen king, right? But we see that Esther was not in the kingdom, right? At that particular time, she would not have saved her people. So you have to be very, very mindful. She had to go through all the preparation, the bathing, the rituals, everything in order for her to become queen to a heathen king. He was a heathen king, right? So don't use religion as a way to handicap yourself. Some of us, some of these decisions we are making, we are going, if we don't take time, our next generation is going to go extinct because of some of these poor decisions that we are making. Develop yourself, right? Develop yourself. And what should you be working on? I actually have a long laundry list, but on top of my very, very list is communication and interpersonal skills. Polit- Learn how to communicate effectively, communicate well, when to communicate, when not to communicate. And communication, even in the way that your body gesture, everything encompasses of that. Instead of going to go sign up for another master's degree, invest money in your soft skills. Communication is one of them. Invest money into your soft skills. How do I dress appropriately for the job that I'm going to? How do I look presentable? Right? How do I make sure when I go into the room, I'm noticed and people can see that I am there, right? Without even uttering a word, right? Invest in problem solving. We grow up in a culture where solving problems is an abomination. If you solve a problem, they will say, now you sabi, you be wasabi, right? If you see something, you'll be like, oh, couldn't we have covered the gutters so that people will
Tuno,
not
tuno,
put garbage in it, right? Couldn't
tuno.
we have done this better? Couldn't we have sat down and did this way? They will say you are too no,
Mm,
right? That is
mm.
why we have countries that we don't have lights because nobody is thinking about solving the problem of either building a new dam where we have so many water, right? Or thinking about developing in such a way that is so strategic that our young men and young women, when they finish school, they can easily get jobs. There's no one solving problems. So that means when you move into a developed country, solving problems, finding problem solving should be part of your learning. It should be part of your self development. I'm sorry, just because you have PhD does not mean you solve problems, and you need to invest in that. You need to learn about adaptability. How do I adapt? It's cold. How do I wear the appropriate jacket? How do I buy the right vehicle for the community that I live in? Right? You can't go and buy a Mercedes Benz and then your neighborhood they never plow the snow. You will be stuck. The time you're supposed to be getting to work, you're stuck. Maybe you need to buy a truck, right? So all these things are things that it might seem like this is not necessary. It is necessary. It is necessary, right? And then taking time to take care of yourself. Some of us, what were we doing? The moment we come abroad, we become what do you call it? Community managers of everybody back home. You are the one paying people's school fees. You're the one
Mm,
paying people's phone bill. You're the one
mm,
that wants to build the biggest mansion in your village.
uh-huh,
So you do three jobs, three
mm,
care jobs,
mm,
right? So at the end of the day, what happens? You by 50, most of the men, 50, they are gone. 52, 53, they are no more, right? Because you are putting yourself in a place where you're not supposed to.
Hmm.
You've not adapted, you've not adjusted, you've not learned, you've not evolved. Some of you want to still have two wives because my father had three wives, right? And in this desperate, if you try that and make yourself a bona fide baby daddy, that means your paycheck is going to suffer and your retirement is going to be interesting.
I have a story to share about that. That's why I'm laughing because I'm exposed to those things every day. There's a particular province in this Canada place. Ekuamwa knows it well. That is where all those things happen. There was this guy who thought he was being politically correct. What he had done was that he had like three different women. I think he was married to all of them. And he was doing shifting cultivation. So each home that he goes to, he has planted seeds there. He had like 10 children between the three women. Then it turned out that he didn't talk properly. They asked him where he was living. Now, which one of these addresses is he going to give? Because what they had done was that the women have tweaked the system such that they were all claiming to be single mothers, right? And so because of that, the system has given them all, a place to live with their children. And this man was just doing the rounds, like going between one to the other, but he forgot himself and, gave an address. Then it's like, but these people, we already know them to be single. They are single moms. So you are giving this address. Has the person's, how do you say, their marital status, has it changed? Now it started off this whole investigation. And they found that it's not even just this one address. In all those two other women too, this man had claimed that he was living. So only you, how many residential addresses do you have? And that's how they found out that this is what is happening. And the two, like he was with the three women, had children with all of them, and was trying to call all of them his wives. So this thing is not some joking issue that we're talking
And
about.
that's criminal.
Yes.
It's a criminal offense in North America. Yeah. Right? So um so conflicts. One of the things I find out people struggle with is conflict resolution, right? Invest in your conflict resolution. How do I resolve conflict so that it does not escalate, right? To the point that, because the thing is, like, we grew up in a culture where when you have conflict, your mother will come, your wife's mother will come, and all those things. Well, in this culture, you can't do that, right? So, how do you learn to handle conflict, right? Because you will always come into conflict with many people. And even most of the time, if you're really observing, if you go for job interview, that's one of the questions that they usually ask you, right? How do you resolve conflict? Right? So you need to develop yourself in terms of conflict resolution. Not that you get upset at work and you trash the whole place and then you leave and you quit your job because your manager did not greet you. You didn't say good morning. You didn't see me sitting here. All of those things. You come to somebody's house. You cannot tell the person how to live in their own house.
Mm-hmm.
Look at all these young people. Look at the way they are talking to me. If I was in Ghana, me, I'll be bank manager. You think I'm a small boy, right? Nobody is above you. Nobody is beneath you, right? So conflict resolution, right? You have to also learn how to navigate change and uncertainties. Why do I say that? In 2021, 2022, mortgage rate, interest rate was 1.99.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good time for people to buy a house. Now, if you want to buy a house now, hey, if you don't take time, the cheapest you get is 5.99 in interest rate. That means that you going to pay, if you were paying 1,000 before, you could possibly be paying 2,000, double, some triple, depending, right? So how do you navigate all of those changes in your family dynamics, right? Is it now that how do you understand how to adapt? Because the system here, unfortunately, is not very steady. It's always ever evolving. One day houses are cheap, another day houses are very expensive, right? And it stabilizes. But with all of these things, you need to find ways to adapt. You need to find ways to navigate, even with the job system. Sometimes they will do restructuring, right? I work for an organization in 2020, they decided to do a realignment, right? When they do the realignment, maybe the person you were reporting to, you're no longer reporting to that person. How do you navigate all of those changes and
Mm-hmm.
quickly adapt, right?
Mm-hmm.
And evolve, right? And be very agile. It's very, very important because it's the fundamental of who you're going to be. You can work for a corporation and you can wake up tomorrow and they have sold the company. Nobody is going to ask you or tell
Mm-hmm.
you.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to navigate that? Right? All these things are important skills for you to invest in. How do you become futuristic in your thinking? One of the things that I struggle with mostly with our people is that most of us are very present thinking and not very futuristic thinking, right? If you are doing your job right now, you see AI. AI is there taking over in many forms. I was having a conversation with someone and somebody said that a time will come, almost 70% of what doctors are doing will be done by AI, right? So when you're having conversation with your children who you brought here and reintegrating them, thinking about career choices for them, are you investigating to see that maybe back home, those days, doctor was the eighth thing to be? Is doctor the eighth thing for the next 10 years? For my child and preparing them. Don't wait till your child is in grade 11 and say, I want you to become a doctor. That's not possible. It's going to be a struggle, right? So be future minded, right? Even in your own career, as a bank teller or customer service, back home, people go line up just to go to the bank to collect money. Nowadays, if you go to the bank, I don't think now there's been instances now I had to go to the bank in this past few weeks. When I go, usually I'm the only second person in line.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? People are no longer coming to the bank. So if
Everything
you're
is
working,
online.
so if you're working as a teller now, you should be thinking about what your next move is going to be. Because the time will come, there will be no teller. There will be self-serve kiosks, right? So because you are doing big oga in Nigeria, in Lagos, right? Because people there, the market women, they will never do electronic transfer. They will come to your bank. That job is going to be there for at least the next decade. But here, time for you to question yourself, right? Futuristic thinking, right? And I said, don't compound degrees and diplomas. These things are not things you learn by getting degrees. They are things you learn by networking, attending workshop, going to places, and going to all these coaching workshops and all those things. Invest money in yourself when it comes to these things. Spend time. If it's free, take advantage. I myself, we organized a resume workshop yesterday here in Calgary, right? Attend those. You will get to learn from people the questions they ask, how people are changing their careers, what careers you can diverge into quickly that you can easily adjust. All of these things are not going to come to you in the
Mm-hmm.
comfort of your home.
No.
You have to put yourself out there and make that self development as part of your strategy in your growth.
Mm.
You have to make it as part of your strategy in your growth, right? So I talked about being future minded, right? Growth mindset. Growth mindset. You must grow. Anything that doesn't grow, it dies.
Mm.
Jesus says that all the ones that the leaves that are dead, he will cut it off and put it in the fire. So you have to grow. You
Mm.
have to develop growth mindset.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is how I was taught in my family. This is how we do it. We don't do it anyway. And in my house, only men don't wash dishes. In my family, this. That's right, right? How are you going to learn?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Some of us, we've come abroad and we are in debt. We are in debt because you go to the car dealership, you buy car, 2 years, you go and change it, you go and change it, you go, you don't even ask. They say interest rate 20%. You didn't even ask. You sort of asking, oh, I know you work in the bank. And I went to the dealership, they said 8.99. Is that a good rate? Right? Or you go online, is that a good rate? You just sign because you see shine car is on credit, you shine. And after you be posting pictures on social media and people be looking and being envious. Have you investigated? Have you asked questions? Is it in your favor?
Mm-hmm.
Right? What are you doing? At the same token, some of us too will save money, $20,000 in our bank account, $50,000 in our bank account. We'll save it so that everybody will know that we have money in our bank accounts. Meanwhile, have you asked someone, what can I do with this $20,000 that is less risky for me? Can I buy GICs? Can I buy, what can I buy? Treasury bonds. What can I buy? Is it enough money for me to maybe put as down payment for my first house? And if I can't pay for the house, can I maybe get a property that I can rent some of it out? Right? Ask those questions. They are part of your growing. Is a part of the ways that you're going to be able to adapt and be
Mm-hmm.
able to enjoy this country. This country is not like back home that you can buy your house and you live there by you, yourself, and your wife and get a maid. No, it can't be like that. So, what can you do to make it work?
Yeah.
Right? So
Mm-hmm.
these are some of the things when we talk about growth mindset, changing the way that you think. The last thing, I know I talked about this, teamwork, collaboration, and self-awareness.
Mm.
But I really want to re-emphasize on collaboration. All your first class that you have carried, nobody cares. Your upper class, your lower class, nobody cares. What everybody cares about is how effective you work in a team. You're not in competition with your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
You're not in competition with your friends. You're
Mm-hmm.
not in competition with your co-workers. You
Mm-hmm.
are there to learn from them. They're there to learn from you. You are there to learn from your spouse. Your spouse is there to learn from you.
Correct.
So you are there to learn from your friend. Your friend is there to learn from you. Collaboration, teamwork. Okay? Teamwork. I am not an HR consultant. I cannot do HR work. So if I need an HR work done, I call my friend who is an HR expert. I'm not a social worker. If I want a social work advice, I call my friend who is a social worker,
That's it.
right? I am not a banker. If I need banking advice, I will call, the people I know. I'll call all my banking friends that work in all the different banks that I know, right? And get advice from them. But if I see them as competition, how can I get an advice from them?
Exactly.
Teamwork, collaboration. If it's not because of collaboration, I will not be here talking to you. You getting the wisdom from me, you getting the wisdom from Sika. So the next time you think about collaboration or teamwork, think about this discussion that the two of us are having right here. This is what collaboration looks like,
Mm.
right? The two of us coming together so that you are now benefiting from the sharing of the knowledge.
Correct.
And I will end here, Sika.
Yeah, the last thing I wanted to say as you round up, and I'll let you put out your last words there, is that you made a very important point about communication. I remember doing a video sometime last year about it, and I got knocked by a lot of people, but the people who have experienced it themselves, that have had their own practical experiences, actually came in support of what I said in this thing about communication. You know that in Africa, in Ghana, definitely in a lot of cultures, when your mom is talking to you, don't look in your mom in her eye.
Yes.
You have to lead your head down and put your hands behind your back when you're talking to elderly people. Over here, when you go to an interview and the interviewer is asking you a question, your boss is talking to you, even your co-worker is talking to you, and you start fidgeting, put your hand, you don't know how to relax to talk to them. A man is talking to you, you're a woman and you're looking somewhere else, you can't look into their eyes and tell them what you have to tell them. Guess what? Socially,
Exactly.
you're awkward. And secondly, they don't trust anything
It's
that you're saying. You're not
dishonesty. Yeah.
honest. That is why you can't look them in the face. When I said this, somebody, oh, this is culture. Yes, but when you live in the West, when you live in the West, they have a different way of viewing things. And actually, when you self elevate yourself to that level, all those nonsense things that we were doing, to me, it doesn't make any sense. Should I be afraid of my mom and my dad because they're older than me and they gave birth to me? I can still be respectful to them without having to put my hands behind my back as if I'm a slave, or not be able to look them in the eye because they are elder people and I can't look at them. They're my parents, they're your relatives, they're whoever they are. If you can't look somebody in the eye, I can't look at Ekuamwa like this and talk to her. It's like I'm trying to hide something, because the eye doesn't lie. It's the mouthpiece on what is going on in your soul and your heart. It's why it's like that, right? And so if you're talking to somebody and you're telling them the truth, you should be able to look them straight in the eye and tell them the truth. And that is how it works here. You can argue with it all you want, but when you're like that, you're shifty and nobody wants to work with you, because nothing that comes out of your mouth is believable. Take it from people who have lived here. You've been here for yonks. You were literally raised, born and bred here. I mean, that's how I see it. And I've had the experiences from different places, from Ghana to England to now Canada. And I'm telling you that if you're talking to somebody and you're not looking them in the eye, Oyibo, if you can't look at Oyibo in the eye and answer the questions, they don't trust the word that comes out of your mouth. And they're not going to give you anything that is worth having, like some responsibility that is important. Because how can they trust you that you will deliver? How? When you can't even look them in the eye and they think you're being socially or politically incorrect. A word to the wise is enough. My sister, please, what are your last words?
Well, my last week actually pertaining to what you just said. Some of us we worry about our young black men or young black kids, boys especially, and some of these things has got to do with some of these behaviors that we ourselves exhibit. When I call it tame them down. That's the word, what I call it, right? When we ourselves exhibit this attitude of, and this lack of eye connection and all these things, when they also see us do these things, when they go to school they do it, and then the next thing you know, they are falling behind, right? Because they are not being included in the circles where real information is being shared
Right.
because of the break of trust. So by the time they realize they are behind, and then you wonder why they don't want to go to school. You're not even creating a culture of environment for them. They come home and it's different culture. They go there, it's different culture. They are constantly being clashed. They are confused. And some of you guys are just like, right? So all of these behaviors in us investing in ourselves,
Mm,
it goes to the next generation, right? When you go somewhere, pick the good things, leave the bad things. You don't have to pick everything. Pick the good things. What must I do to be successful? What must I do to in order to own my first home? What must I do to be debt free but yet have good credit, or have, what do they call it? Yeah, they call it good credit, right? So all of these things are part of it. Teach your young men and young ladies to be bold in terms of the way they communicate. Let
yeah.
them build the self-confidence. Don't say, "Kawanu tum wɔ hɔ, gyae nea woka no," right? And kasa, "Kawanu tum," right? Don't do all of that. You wonder why your girls have low self-esteem. Why? Low self-esteem is very self-destructive. But some of these things they're getting it from the house. And then they go to school, the teachers are talking to them and they're looking this way, they're looking
Yeah.
that way. The next know the teachers will not be asking them any questions anymore, right? And then that's how they gradually exclude them, right? I know if we talk about this, we'll talk about this too tomorrow. But the most important thing is let's work on our soft skills.
Yeah.
Our soft skills, communication, conflict resolution, growth mindset, collaboration, and teamwork, and our adaptability and integrating into the culture. So
Mm.
these are the things. Let's just these. This is what I want to leave everybody with this afternoon. Okay,
Mhm.
continue. Please share this. Please watch it on YouTube. I prefer YouTube, so that Sika is really getting good value for her time. Okay, so share this with your friends. If you have questions, please comment, send them. Let's all discuss in the comment section questions that you have. If you need information, reach out. We are here to help everyone. Okay, and attend some of these workshops. Sika also has workshops as well. Attend them, okay? Get information, meet people, give yourself the quicker steps ahead,
Mhm.
right? You know, you can take either the stairs or you can take the elevator. The
That's right.
choice is yours.
That's true.
If you like, take the stairs. If you like, take the elevator. It all leads to the same road. But the people who are going to take the elevator is the people who are willing to press the door, take the chance that the elevator will not drop them or the elevator will not break down, right? Those are the people who are willing to take the risk and invest in themselves,
Mm.
right? All
Mm.
these things is self-investment. It's time, it is money, and you will reap the reward. So thank you, everyone. Please send Sika some stars. Send some stars to her as well. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, Miss Ekwamwa. So we're gonna come back next week. Hopefully, I hope you're available, and but we'll talk back door, and then yeah, we'll be here again with yet another interesting topic. This is so important. There is milk and honey that is flowing in North America, in Europe. You just have to know, have the keys, the right keys to unlock what you need to unlock and to get where you need to get to. It's not a quick fix situation. Don't go and take on commitments that were never yours to take on in the first place. Focus on fixing your own life first. You can only hand, you know, when you sit on a plane, they say wear your own face, your own mask first before you put on somebody else's. It's there for a reason. When you are dead, how can you fix somebody else's mask, right?
Mm,
So fix yours first, and then you're able to have the ability, because you're inhaling and exhaling oxygen and carbon dioxide, and then you're able to help your next door neighbor. That is how it works. So stop taking on all these extended families that you have to support back home. When you drop dead tomorrow, they'll still keep moving on and living their life, denying yourself the things that you need to survive, right? The intellect, the soft skills, the self development, all the things that she's talking about. You don't have money. You claim you don't have money, but next thing you're sending money on credit card to those people back there and denying yourself the little comforts, the things that you need to do for you to stay alive. A word to the wise is enough. Ikuamwa, thank you so much for your time. I've taken enough of it. So we'll be back next week, Sunday, to continue with yet another interesting discussion. I love
okay.
you all so much. Take care. Help me say thank you
Bye.
to Ikuamwa. Thank you so much, darling.
Bye.
Bye.